Hi guys, how are you over there? My name is Mr. Ngosi, VM. So today I want us to learn how to draw an N2 isometric drawing. Yeah. So why I'm specified to that this is the N2, because there by N1 you remember we are still having an isometric drawing, and as well as here in N2, even there by N3, but there by N3 then is different. Even this one of N2 is not exactly as compared to the one of N1. So the different of this one here in N2 is that in N2 we've got isometric cycles, while in N1 it's just curves, you see, like this. We don't have a shape which it should be like this. So today I want us to learn or practice how do we draw an isometric drawing of N2. So this one is the previous question paper. It was an X paper which was written 15 November 2016. Engineering drawing N2. So the requirements, it says the very important one says use an A2 drawing sheet. So but here we'll be using an A4. Let's hope it's gonna fit without using any reduction scale. So it says figure 4 shows two views of a workpiece in first angle orthographic projection. So as much as they are saying it's first angle orthographic projection, which means to remember this will be as good as if it's gonna be our Cartesian plane like this. So this is the first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, fourth quadrant. So which means this one is gonna be our left view, this one is gonna be our front view. Okay, from there what do we know is that the front view has to be situated on our right hand side, so that the left is gonna be on its left hand side. So it's further go on to say draw to a scale 1:1 an isometric view of the workpiece. So point P must be situated. Point P must be the lowest point. No hidden details is required. Okay, let's start. So your very first step that you have to do is to draw a dark horizontal line. So this dark horizontal line, from here till there, you are not restricted that how long should be. So we regard, or we'll call this one as our horizontal line. So from here we'll be drawing a faint line which is going to be perpendicular to this line of yours, which is horizontal. So where they are bisecting each other, we'll be calling this point P. So I don't know whether my camera is it visible here or what. So every time when you draw an isometric, we are using this ruler, which is the name of this ruler. We call it a 30 and a 60 degrees set square. So which means you can get both anti-clockwise and clockwise, anti-clockwise and clockwise, 60, 30, 30. But here we are using angle 30 every time when we draw an isometric drawing. So from there you draw a faint line at an angle of 30, and then again faint line at an angle of 30. So then we start. They said to use a scale of 1:1, which means we don't have to divide anything here. We'll be just recording measurements the way they are. So let's start. So we'll decide to start right from from our front view. So which means whatever we see, whatever dimension we see on this view, which is our front view, will correlate it this side. So whatever dimension we see on our left view will correlate, will deal with them this side. And we must also know that the front view and the left view, they share the same what? The same height. So which means in terms of the vertical, which is our height, in case maybe we don't know that from here till there's how much, from there till there's how much, we will have to come to our front view to read those dimensions. Okay, let's go. So from your point P, what do we see? We see 110 millimeter. So you come to say from here, from your lowest point, which is point P, 105, sorry, not 110, 105. So there is my 100, 110, so there is my 105. So I measure, after measure, I also draw it. I draw it dark. So it's dark because of from here till there I can see it is dark. Assuming there was something else here, which means even here I wasn't supposed to draw it dark. Then where your 110 millimeter ends, what do we see? We see a line which is going vertically up. So which means we'll be drawing it like this. But you draw how? Faint for now. Faint for now. Let me try to okay. I'm sorry for that. Okay. What do we see right from here? Going up, we see 100. We see 80 millimeter. We see 80 millimeter, which means this P, remember, is still the same P. So from here till there is 80 millimeter. Where is our 80 millimeter? There is 90. There is our 80 millimeter. But then we don't have to draw it dark because you see it has got what? An arc there. So we'll have to just mark for now. You see. Okay. After that, let's come back to our point P. Let's come back to our point P. There, from here till there, what do we see? We see a 25 and it's dark. So there is 20, 25. And it's dark. From here till there, 25. Where 25 ends, what do we see? We see a 10 millimeter. So tolerate it like that. Don't say 25 plus 10. Just tolerate it like that. Then there is our it's our 10. But now it's no longer dark. Do you see what that 25 is ending there? So from here till there, that line, it's a dimensional line. You see. Okay, once we're there, what do? We have to take a faint line which is gonna go like this. Faint, and then from here till there, what do we see? We see another 10 millimeter. Let's get that 10. We don't drop, but we mark. There is my 10 millimeter. So then, which means I have to join this where remember from here till there is 25 millimeter, isn't it? So which means we have to, where your 25 ends, we have to join this one with that one. There it goes. Then from there, so now we'll be going along this line. Remember, how did we got this line? We got it like this by using this angle, isn't it? So now from here till somewhere there is how much? It's 15 millimeter. So, and it's even dark. So from here till there, there is my 10, 20, there is my 15. I mark and I draw. Remember, your biggest enemy in an exam is not an invigilator, but it's time. So we must try by all means to save time. So now where your 15 millimeter ends, we see another 15 millimeter going down, which means going vertical. So like this. Remember, before we draw, we have to get a faint line. Then after a faint line, on top of that faint line, then we record. So 20, 10, there it's my 15 millimeter. I draw. Then for me, going this side. So how I have to use this ruler, faint. Then from there, we are told now from here till there is 20 millimeter. How do we have to get it? We have to, from there is 20 millimeter. There is my 20 millimeter. I draw it dark. I don't measure. After measuring, I still have, while I'm measuring, I'm also drawing. You see. And then where 20 ends, you see, we are going down from here till there. We see they are saying is how much is 10 millimeter. So I cannot just record like this 10 millimeter out of nowhere. I have to get a correct faint line which is accurate. Then on top of that faint line, then I can record a dimension, which is how much is what is 10 millimeter. There is my 10 millimeter. This is an N1 stuff, this part. And then from here, going this side, they are saying it's 20, but I cannot just measure 20, isn't it? So I have to get what? An accurate faint line first. Like this. There it goes. And then from here, then I can say 20 millimeter. So 0, 10, 20, there is my 20. I mark and draw. You see. So now from here going up the is how much? It's 10, but I won't be recording another 10 because it's the same as this one. From there till there is still as the same, isn't it? So now I'll be just going up like this. You see? I'm even fast now. So remember that from here till there, it looks like you are not given, but from here till there is 105, isn't it? So now we'll be saying 105 millimeter. Where your 105 millimeter going back, you measure how much? You measure 20 millimeter, which is that one, so that this distance is gonna automatically come out. There is our 20. So now what do? We take it vertically up. And then once you're there, which means now you'll be just what? You'll be just connecting this one with that one, darker. You see? And then now we are here. So which means this one, I cannot draw it dark yet because I don't know this dark thing, does it end way somewhere there? So even the ear, even here, I'll be just drawing it dark, just a little bit short like this. So now let's come to our left view. So which means this, we've took it and put it in our what? In our right hand side. So that this view, which we call it a left view, will be well positioned on our left hand side. So which means now we'll be just taking view this like this, these corners. Remember this one is already there, isn't it? So now which means this one is not helpful anymore. Here we go. Here we go. Like this. Then once you're here, so we are told OT from the P, which is that one now, isn't it? So it's how much? It's 60 millimeter. And it's what? It's dark, which means I have to what? I have to say 60 millimeter. There is my 60 to what? To 0. You see, from here, this one, remember, it's dark. Okay, where 60 end, which means I must draw a line which is going to parallel to this one. But this parallel, it has to end somewhere, isn't it? So which is going to be corresponding with this one. There it goes. So which means without fear or favor, this one will be what? Will be dark. Then from here till there, I must draw a line which is going to be parallel to this one. So we've got so many methods to deal with such. So the simplest one. Remember, my friend, you have to try by all means to save time. So the simplest one, isn't it, from here till there is 60. From here till there is 60. Which means again from here till there has to be what? Has to be 60. So you just record with your divider like this. There is our 60. You can even measure it with the what? Isn't it? You said from here till there is 60, even here is 60, which means even with the ruler, you can still do it. You see? It's one and the same thing. So dark from here till where? Till there. So which means even this one now, even this one is going to be dark. Which is this part. Remember, the question said no hidden details is required. So now, if we have to draw a line which is parallel, how did you draw this one? So the way you drew this one is the way you're supposed to draw this one. So how did you draw this one? Remember, your ruler was like this. So which means you have to just flash it up like this, up until there. Then from here, you draw dark like this. So which means this one is gonna be what? It's gonna be dark. Like this. So what is happening here? So let's take them faint as well and see what are they gonna give us. So this one is not gonna be shown, this one, because it will be going at the back of this part. So even this one faint, even this one faint, even this one faint. This is in a level of N1. So which means again, my friend, we have to measure 60 millimeter like this from here, which is the very same 60, isn't it? So from here till there is your 60. And then be careful there, because there it has to be just close like this, which it will be the line that was corresponding with this one. But now, because of now we are drawing it in an isometric way, which is 3-dimensional, so it will just appear like that. So again, even here, from here till there, 60 millimeter. Where is our 60? Then 60, from 60 to what? To 0. I stop there. So which means I have to go up the line which is going to be starting from here till there, which is that 10, which will be parallel to this one, isn't it? Like this. Then from here, I must draw a line which will be corresponding with this one, parallel to this one. So which means the way you drew this one, how did you draw? We drew it like this, isn't it? Again, we'll be just flashing it up until there. So dark, just like this. You stop there. Then, which means again, this one has to be what? Has to be dark. You see. So again, we have to get the line which will be corresponding with this one from here till there. So here won't be measuring that 60. So we just flash your T-square, your set square, like this, dark, like this. Which means again, this one has to be what? Has to be dark. So now from this point will correspond with this one, which means now we have to go up, faint like this, So remember that we were told from the P, which was our lowest point, going up, the true length, height, sorry, it has to be 80 millimeter. So which means this 8 is good as if it's starting from there till up there. So which we have dealt about it. So we said from there till there is that 8. So now we have to draw this feint like this, as if now we are completing this part, but we have to draw it faint because we have to get a box there. Then from here, from there, we have to draw a line which will be parallel to this one, like this. Faint. Then from here, going this side, faint as well. And then from here, going that side, faint as well. So this thing is gonna look as if it's something which is gonna be like this. But remember that it's not it doesn't have a corners like this as much as we see that we see it in our left view. That is why we have to draw it faint so that we'll use an isometric cycle. So what do we have to do now? We have to get what? The centers of 60. So from here till there is 60. So 60 divided by 2, we're getting how much? We're getting 30. So there is our 30 millimeter. So what do we have to do? We have to draw this 30 as a center line. Like this. Sorry. Like this. So this center will change. So this center, isn't it? It's good as if it would be going like this from here, down from there, you see? But we'll just concentrate on this part. So again, this side would be, you have to get a center of 60. Because from here till there is 60, you see? 0 to what? To 60. So the half is there. Then from here, I hope we are still together. So if I'm too fast, you can, after you've downloaded this video, you can be pausing. So center. But remember, from here, this center has to change, isn't it? Change, going this side. So this is the level of N2 then. Because there by N1 we don't have what you call isometric cycle. So today, now we'll Okay, let's go on. So this is good as if it's a square. A square, it has got corners, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, isn't it? So this is the center 1, center 2, center 3, center 4. It's a square. So now the simplest method